So, okay, we're just going to be totally chill and invite you in. These are the kind of conversations that we have anyway.
Yeah.
And what happened recently that inspired this whole conversation is I got sick. I had fever. What do? I call my friend. I call my girlfriend. And she's amazing with homeopathy remedies, flower essences. She's spot on intuitively, and I highly recommend sessions with her. So it was I got a fever, and I actually feel really good. It was surprising, like, what a positive experience I was having with the fever. So my husband had the flu. I had mild symptoms of the flu, but I never went full-blown into it as sick as he did. But we were down, and we needed to be down. Nature shut us down so that we could connect and rest in a way that life would not have supported us to do that. It was basketball season and kids stuff all the time. You're just like full on. And it was like, no, our bodies and nature said, no, you're not. And you're going to be together, and you're just going to be still together, which was really, really nice. So I thought she would get it if I called her and said, I'm really feeling positive about this sickness.
I'm loving being sick. What do you think?
So, of course, not like anyone enjoys the whole process of being sick. But there were these moments of clarity, almost intuitive downloads that I was having in my fever. And she really shed some good light and information on why that is and how to look at the beneficial side of being sick and having a fever.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think in our time of intense productivity, as our culture loves to promote, and there's a lot of people talking about the art of not being busy and the art of slowing down, and it's great to read in a book and assign 15 minutes to it, but we really need to learn to incorporate that to our lives more. And so part of that culture of obsessiveness with busyness and showing our productivity all the time, we have a fear of illness, which is not unreasonable. I mean, it is our nature to go forward and want to survive. But I think in some ways we've lost that connection to the benefit of illness. And because we have fever reducers and medications and all these kinds of things, it gives us this idea that symptoms are something to get rid of. And that's one thing I love about homeopathy is it talks about symptoms are the language of the body. It is its song that communicates to us, and it's like a child saying, hey, help, this is what's going on over here. I need assistance. And allopathic Western traditional medicine tends to, one of their main focuses for the most part is suppress those symptoms. If you're sneezing, get rid of the sneeze. Just suppress those symptoms. And absolutely, I am not saying don't ever go to the doctor, don't ever go to the hospital. Never.
Right.
I am in support of integrative approaches, and holistic includes everything. But I am all about our awareness of having that relationship with our bodies and communicating with our bodies and saying what's up. And so with a fever, fevers can have enormous benefit within reason. Again, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not saying, 107, go for it. Great. No, that's just not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that it serves a purpose. And I had an amazing experience when I was 18. I had mono. I didn't know it as mono happens. It has a long incubation period. And my whole system was shutting down. My throat was swelling shut. My nose was closing off. Everything was shutting down, which of course is terrifying. And then when I learned about homeopathy years later, I understood that was the body basically trying to strangle out the illness. It was doing the work for me. It was creating a fever to burn it out. So why your body gets hot, you're trying to burn something off. You're trying to eliminate it. But it also has a detox response. That's part of the detoxification. That's part of the why hydrotherapy is so wonderful and saunas are so wonderful. It is a healing mechanism. And so whenever we have awareness of, okay, am I at a point where I'm still in safe range, and am I in an environment that I can do self-care? I don't recommend you keep going running and doing and around other people, but if you can hibernate a bit and go into that moment, it will actually move along faster and have an experience like you did, which I would love to hear more about.
Yeah, it was revealing. I was able to, it wasn't a super high fever, where I should have gone to the doctor. It was nothing like that. But in my stillness, I had some aha moments about my scheduling and how I schedule my clients, where I had just been kind of going through the motions, and it was like, oh, I need to do it like this. This makes complete sense. There
Wow.
were some aha moments about certain plants that wanted to work with me.
Will you share a bit about that? Because she is really amazing. Evangeline has a really amazing gift when she is doing her work on people through massage and energy work, that plant spirits come and talk to her. So can you
They
share
do.
a bit of it, what that looks like?
Wow, that's definitely its own conversation. But yeah, they will just show up in my awareness,
Okay.
and they typically have like a person. It's like meeting someone,
Cool.
and it's meeting that plant in spirit. So it happens a lot when I'm working with clients where it's like, hey, I don't know anything about this particular plant. It's not my plant. It's yours. They've come in here for you. And that's what happens, like, since I'm not in nature as much as I want to be. It's like they come find me in my
little flower comes walking
in my treatment room. They're like, hey. So that was happening for me. Instead of like I was a messenger for the client intuitively on the table, they were coming in like, finally, we've gotten you in a space where we can
hear
communicate
us.
with you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Insights about our land that we're getting ready to build our home on. There were some insights about things to do to treat it and help the land and nourish the soil. So I came out of that whole time period not like, oh, bummer, man, I've been so sick. It was like, thank you. Thank you for the illness. Thank you for the time. And it just feels so good to look at it that way instead of be afraid or inconvenienced by something that your body is so intelligent to do.
Yeah, and I think it points to something that culturally I've had the great fortune of being able to travel to lots of different places in the world, and some less developed than others that are still more in touch with their tribal roots and kind of their ancestral connection in a really beautiful way. And so informative and nurturing for me to see how other cultures are okay with sickness and death and birth.
Yes.
They really embrace, and people in the US as well, but it's not as much culturally. We kind of like to put illness and death in side rooms.
Yeah,
and
let's not look at that.
yeah, and it's really getting in touch with our mortality. And I think, like, currently what's going on right now with the coronavirus is it's bringing up people's fear about death, I think, ultimately. It's this idea that we aren't invincible, that you can't just go take a med and make it go away, and, oh, my socioeconomic standing will make me less susceptible, and, oh, I don't have to worry about that. I'm not homeless. This only happened with the homeless. Like, no,
Right.
or I'm white, therefore I am protected from, like, none of this. Doesn't matter what your color, what your age, what your background, socioeconomic, where you live, like this is something that's going to affect all of us. And I think that's bringing up a lot of fear and anxiety, but I think it's also really an opportunity to embrace our oneness, that we are all connected. We are all human. Animals are going to be affected by it as well. I've seen stuff about, dogs can get it and how that's transmitted. And I'm looking to kind of embrace the connection in it, and not that I'm going to go around and be sneezing and breathing and unaware. Like I respect that there are more vulnerable people right now to this, and how to go about in the world and be conscious about that while also not letting it be consuming.
Yeah.
And also recognizing like, wow. And I was in New York City during 9/11, and it's reminding me a lot of that, where all of a sudden we were thinking about the same thing at the same time. And we were all trying to get home and check on our loved ones and connect with each other. And there was a really deep eye contact. And now some were like, oh my gosh, butt up, head down kind of thing. But there was such a different, movies were free. Things happened that were completely out of the norm.
That were sweet.
Exactly. And I think this is an opportunity to embrace that. And I think I mentioned earlier, extending our community beyond our household, like being aware of our neighbors.